What's happening? We are back. It is day 3, and today we are talking about how to amplify your level of brand authority and how to amplify your authority. If you have been locked in, right, for day 1, we looked at the foundations, how to fix your foundations, how to start with your level of brand authority. For day 2, we looked at how to build your rhythm, how to get to the point of now you're building your level of brand authority. And for today, we are looking at how to amplify your level of brand authority. We are building on everything that we have built so far, and now we are amplifying our efforts so more people are able to understand exactly what it is that we do and why we are the key people of influence and why we are the obvious choice, right? So before I even get started, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. If you are clicking on this video today and you're thinking stage 3, make sure that you check the previous videos. Make sure you check out stage 1 if you are in the foundations of building your brand. Make sure that you check out stage 2 if you are in the process where you have your foundations locked in. You know who your ICP is, you know your buyer, you know your target audience, you know exactly how to get clientele. Now you're building your rhythm, get to stage 2. And today, if you want to learn how to amplify your authority for more people to recognize you for the amazing work that you do, stay locked in. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And let's get straight into it. Let's go. So, you are visible and consistent, but without external validation and campaign architecture, you're recognized, not relied on. So you're recognized for what you do, but you're not relied on for doing that particular thing. Credible experts stay under-recognized when their authority isn't validated externally. So I left corporate to build systems that turn visibility into recognized credibility. And in a nutshell, for the basis of this, I help founders and expert service providers whose revenue depends on trust turn their expertise into recognized authority that strengthens pipeline, pricing, and commercial leverage. So if that is you, you are in the right place. Let's go. So how does this work? So if you are familiar with stage 1 and stage 2, you would know about the P.H.A.S.E brand authority system. If you are not aware of the P.H.A.S.E brand authority system, this is my methodology, the way that I work, the way that I live, and the way that I go about building brand authority. So we have the 3B authority method, which is the why, the P.H.A.S.E framework, which is the how, and the Authority Flywheel, which is the compound effect. And for the purpose of this particular masterclass and this particular session, we will be covering the 3B authority method, and we'll be covering the P.H.A.S.E framework with the aspects of amplification and strategic partnerships. And then we'll also be looking at the authority flywheel as well, because I feel that those particular sections are ideal for the idea of what we're doing for this masterclass to amplify our authority. So why this exists? So visibility is no longer rare, I would say. I feel like it's very easy to be visible nowadays. You can really just put yourself out there, and in the grand scheme of things, you can really focus on quantity rather than quality to get yourself out there more. But I say visibility is no longer rare, trust is. And you can be recognized without being chosen. And authority is what turns attention into belief and turns that belief into opportunity. So when you think about the idea of trust, I had to think about the idea of when you have someone behind you and you close your eyes and you fall back. You have to think of that person behind you that is catching you as your authority, your level of brand authority. That level of trust is important for you to ensure that you do not fall, that you do not get misplaced, or you do not put in a position you don't really put in. Build your level of brand authority to establish that trust. Because when you establish that trust, you get that level of belief that you can do what you say you do. And when you get in that position, that's when the belief turns into opportunity. So what brand authority actually is, You would know this if you are familiar with my content, but if you are not, it is your personal brand multiplied by your business brand multiplied by your campaign brand. When you get those brands aligned, you get to a level of brand authority that makes you more visible and credible to your desired target audience. And as you can see, the 3B authority method is what I work with when it comes down to brand authority. Most founders build one brand layer, right? And buyers trust experts where all three align. So with your personal brand, that is your judgment buyers learn to trust. Ensure that your personal brand is in alignment with trust. Your business brand is your proof that you can deliver what you promise. So ensure that your business brand is aligned with credibility. And for your campaign brand, that is the strategic narrative that makes expertise visible. So always look at the campaign. Always look at the campaign brand as momentum, because that momentum is what feeds into the development of your personal brand and your business brand simultaneously. And that is important in order for you to build a level of brand authority to make you more visible and credible to your desired target audience. And of course, we have the phases framework. I'm not going to go too much into it because we have a lot to cover. But as you can see, we have the positioning, we have the hook, we have amplification, we have strategic partnerships, we have engagement, and we have sustainability, right? So for the sake of this video, we will be covering the amplification side of things, and we'll be covering strategic partnerships as well. So before we even get straight into it, I want to look into the authority gap, right? And, you are recognized, but you're not always relied upon. And for me, I believe that gap is the authority gap in between. That is the gap between I've seen them somewhere to that's who we need for this particular role or that particular job or that particular campaign. So you want to be in a position where you close the gap. And you don't necessarily close the gap with more content. You close the gap with more proof. And the more proof that you have, you can close the authority gap where your buyers are able to cross over knowing that you are the key person of influence and the obvious choice. So why visibility alone fails? Why does it fail? Why is visibility not working anymore? Visibility tells people you exist. That's how I put it. But authority tells them that you matter. So without authority, conversations restart from zero all the time. Trust must be rebuilt repeatedly, and opportunities depend on heavy outreach. All the outreach that you can do is the only way that you're gaining opportunity. But with authority, credibility precedes you. Conversations always start warm and your name carries weight. And when you are building a brand at that stage and you are amplifying your efforts, your level of authority is your introduction to every opportunity that comes and presents itself moving forward. Just on the basis that you have intentionally built a level of authority that has allowed you to be deemed more credible, where conversations always start warm because people know you and trust you, and your name carries enough weight where you don't need to be heavy trying to sell because your work speaks for itself, where people want to work with you regardless. So with that, I want to look at the credibility pyramid, right? So authority compounds in layers. So we have the proof of concept, we have social validation, then we have industry recognition, and then we have thought leadership. And I believe if you skip layers, the credibility collapses and the structure builds authority. So if we start with proof of concept, results must be visible. And I'm a big believer of proof of concept. I believe proof of concept is the most powerful thing that we have access to, because when we are able to do it once, there's nothing to say that it cannot be done again, or it cannot be done again, but in an improved way, a better way. With you being able to produce proof of concept, you are displaying a before and after of what that thing is. So with that, I always talk about the importance of documentation. In order to ensure that your proof of concept is something that validates everything that you are working towards, you must document. And that could mean documenting your case studies, documenting your outcomes, documenting your transformations. Without documented proof, authority is harder to scale. And I always tell my clients, my friends, my peers, document like your life depends on it, because it does. And before I even continue, if you are liking this so far, join me. Join the £1 million visibility blueprint on Substack. I write content on there all the time. And if you are not someone that tends to, watch a lot of content, then I have a lot of written content that you can read as well. And I have a lot of audio content that I need to upload on the platform as well. So whatever it is that you want to learn regarding branding, marketing, PR, please do subscribe and check out the Substack, and also subscribe to this channel, because if you are not aware, I am uploading one long form video every single day for 1,000 days, right? I started on the 1st of January 2026 and I have not missed a day. So if you are interested in all my content and you are actually learning from me, you're actually thinking, you know what, this is actually interesting, I can incorporate this into my business and my brand, then show some love and please like the video. Please comment if you have any questions, if you think there was a thing that stood out that was useful, and also do subscribe. Do subscribe, and then do share with someone who you think would benefit from this, right? Let's get straight back into it. So with the pyramid as well, we have social validation. So borrowed trust accelerates belief, right? And silence creates doubt. So based on that, you want your social validation to be in the form of testimonials, right? Collaborations, LinkedIn recommendations, public endorsements. Anyone that can verify and validate and acknowledge that you are the person that you say you are is everything that you need in order to build your level of social validation, and which in turn will build your level of credibility. And then industry recognition. When your name appears in trusted environments, credibility compounds. And for me, being a PR practitioner and being in the industry for a decade, there was many things I had to learn over the years, but the one thing I did not realize until I left working corporate, my last agency role, is that not many PR people know how to PR themselves. And when I intentionally went out my way to start PRing myself and getting my name in different publications and being in different podcasts, for example, that compounded my level of credibility and allowed people to understand exactly who I am, where I'm coming from, my expertise, my know-how. All those things is benefited me because I was able to showcase myself. And as a result, that has presented a level of industry recognition, which has now added to the level of credibility. So for me, I was listed as a PR Week 30 under 30 honoree. And that was quite a few years back. However, that is a industry recognition from the industry at large of my work and my dedication and commitment to the industry. And then that led to other opportunities, like a domino effect, where as of recent, I was a judge for the CIPR, the Chartered Institute of Public Relations. And as a result of that, I was then invited to be at the award show to present an award on the night for the second year running. And at that point, you then need to understand that you're not saying this to brag, right? You're just saying what is factual. And those facts based on what you was able to achieve based on industry recognition is what will allow your credibility to compound. because you are reinforced by podcasts, media coverage, speaking engagements, industry awards, panels. You're cited in different contexts and texts. All these things align with you being more credible. And with that in mind, I believe PR coverage and PR as a whole is super important now that we are in this AI era and the era of SEO and GEO. So you would know SEO as search engine optimization, right? GEO is generative engine optimization. So PR coverage does more than build reputation. It strengthens how your authority is discovered and referenced online. And now, because of generative engine optimization, the same results that are present on Google search based on someone searching for your name, for example, the same piece of coverage you get through PR is now scraped through these large language models and presented through search results on these AI tools. So that now means that PR helps by creating trusted backlinks that improve search visibility on Google and AI tools. It places your name on high authority websites, and it gives AI and search engines credible sources to reference. So the amount of times that people would say that they found me on a ChatGPT, for example, based on how I position myself, and you want to be in a position where you have positioned yourself where you're easily searchable on these platforms, and people can also find you through the use of AI tools as well. So by reinforcing your expertise through third-party validation, that gives you the additional level of credibility to amplify your authority in whatever it is that you do. So when credible publications mention you, your authority becomes easier to find, trust, and to cite. And then also thought leadership. Thought leadership isn't about knowing more, right? It is about articulating what others feel, but they can't just name it yet. And then being able to present it to various different people where you're able to share your thoughts and your insights and your expertise. So you lead with your perspective over perfection, your insights over the noise of what's going on in your industry, contribution over performance. And when others repeat your ideas, that's when you know authority has taken hold. When you see people saying the things that you're saying or doing the things that you're doing without you even being referenced or highlighted, you know that authority has taken hold. So when your ideas travel without you, remember that's also authority is taking hold as well. So that's why I talk about the importance of documentation. The importance of documentation, having your methodologies, having these insights that are innate to you. So you know that based on you being able to develop said content through the aspects of thought leadership, you inspire change and you provoke action. And then through that, you are guaranteed to build on your authority because people are doing things differently and intentionally leading lives in a new way based on your thoughts and your perspective on life and business and your industry. So with that, you want to ensure that through the development of those things, you become a recognized voice. And remember, you cannot build authority in silence. I used to think that, my work will speak for itself. And I realized that my work had no mouth, no teeth, or a tongue. It can't speak. So remember, clarity creates recognition, and recognition creates trust. And people remember how you think, right? People remember how you think, not really how often you post. And that is the most interesting thing, because as I post content every single day, people don't necessarily bring that back to me when I have conversations with them. They usually refer to what I've said in one of my videos or how they felt when I referenced this particular thing and how it was relatable to them. So just remember that people remember how you think, not about how often you post. And remember, media is a multiplier. If you are looking to amplify your authority, remember, media is endorsement. It's not just exposure. The right feature will reinforce your positioning. It will signal the relevance that you have within your industry, and it will add third-party credibility and third-party trust. So treat every feature as an asset. And one thing that people that have the assets, what they do not do is they don't redistribute it often, they don't repurpose it often, and they don't share it often. You need to do those things. You do not build your authority and don't amplify it. It doesn't make sense. Any given opportunity where you have an opportunity to be featured in any particular piece of coverage, you make sure you amplify that and you allow people to understand why you've been acknowledged for your efforts. So for this one, I just wanted to go through the idea of really amplifying your authority. And simply by one piece of media coverage. And that's the thing. I don't want to hear a single excuse about you don't know what to post when you have media coverage, because I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can get 10 touch points from one piece of coverage. So say you secured a piece of coverage, right? I want you to look at it from, let's start from the far left. Let me get this little thing up as well. Cool. So if we start with the authority assets, so you know, and if you are familiar with my content, I talk about the importance of developing an evergreen portfolio. So that means that all the things that you have managed to achieve in your career, your journey in business, your life, have it in a folder where everything is there, all your accolades, all your coverage, all your speaking engagements, all the pictures when you was at an event, all the pictures where you was with someone, I suppose, of relevance or even more authority than you. People where you've been involved in collaborative partnerships, events, initiatives, anything that involves you having your level of authority, pull it in the evergreen portfolio. And as far as coverage is concerned, that's where it would go as well. Another aspect of the authority assets will be the website press page. If you are someone who is intentional about building your level of authority and you have amplified your efforts, you need to ensure that you have a press page that highlights all of the coverage and all of the features that you have, because that will then add to the level of credibility and it would add to that level of authority when people go on your website. When they search your name and they realize that you have a website, that's a tick. When they go on your website and it's actually a well-presented website, that's a tick. When they actually see that you have a press page with dozens of features and articles referencing your work, that's another green tick. Those are all the ticks that will lead into revenue because you've amplified your authority to the point where you can't be mistaken for someone else. So these are your authority assets. And then as you do that, you are now in a position where you can turn this media coverage that you got into a newsletter. You can send that to your newsletter based on the fact that you have secured an opportunity where you spoke about this particular pain point in this particular industry and what you had to say about it. You can turn that media coverage into your own article via a Substack. You can use that to share your expertise and your experience of how the opportunity came to be, or even more so, you can share your opinion if you have any additional insights that never necessarily made the cut. You can provide additional context into how the opportunity was secured and anything else that you can add to it to amplify it even further. You can publish it on Instagram. You can publish it on LinkedIn. You can create a YouTube video from it. And with the YouTube video, I've done this plenty of times. I would secure a piece of coverage for myself. I would do a YouTube video, a long form video, talking about that very same piece of coverage, and I'll share the screen and make it known I've been featured. And then through that, I would then amplify that through turning my long form video content into short form. And then through that, I'm adding that onto my TikTok, my YouTube shorts, and my Instagram reels. And without even blinking, I have created 10 touch points from one piece of media coverage. So imagine what you can do with the more coverage that you get. The more coverage that you get, the more you can amplify your efforts and take things to a whole new world, right? The only difference is that you're not breaking it down enough to realize that this piece of content can be broken down into so many aspects of brand building that a lot of people just aren't privy to it because they just don't see the wealth of what this actual asset means. And that's something I want you to always remember. And remember that partnerships elevate, right? Authority accelerates through association. So ensure that you choose alignment over your audience size. And ensure that you know that a strong partnership is there to reinforce positioning, it signals credibility, and it can place you in a higher level room, right? And every collaboration shapes perception. So I would say based on that, always collaborate based on it being based on alignment rather than size. Don't do it for the sake of you thinking it's going to be good for your sort of prospects or your career, and you're not actually doing it because you feel like it aligns with your business, because those things are very telling and it can actually damage your reputation over time when it doesn't seem cohesive with your actual journey. And create your signature framework. Authorities, their own structure. And that is something I had to learn, and something that always fascinated me working in the PR industry for so long and having the insights of marketing as well, is that there were always so many frameworks and methodologies and, you know, ways of working that I wanted to make my own. I was thinking, surely if everyone else is making their own frameworks, I can make my own. And that's how I got to developing the Phases brand authority system. And I then realized that this makes sense. You need to have your own framework. You need to be able to codify your thinking. You need to make your expertise repeatable. And you need to ensure that you're able to turn those experiences into your own intellectual property. This is how recognition becomes reference. And when people actually refer back to the Phases brand authority system, I know that it's working. I know that the way that I have presented it and positioned it makes sense and is impactful for people over time. So based on that, it is imperative for you to create a framework that aligns with everything you do within your business and your life and your career, of course. And then we want to speak with authority. Confidence is preparation. When you structure your delivery, lead with an idea, support with proof, and end with clarity. Authority lives in communication. And that is why I spent a considerable amount of time doing this content every single day so I can improve on my communication, because I know that speaking with authority will always allow you to develop and grow a lot more faster than those who decide to not speak up. So always remember to do that in the process of you building and amplifying your level of authority. And with the 7-11-4 principle, right? This is a principle that I first was introduced to it by Daniel Priestley, the GOAT, if I must add. But I believe it is actually a sort of report that Google produced. And the whole idea is that in order to have a buyer have a level of trust where they would actually purchase from you, they need to go through 7 hours of engagement across 11 touch points in 4 separate locations. So when it comes down to you building on your level of authority and amplifying it, remember the touch points that I showed you. The touch points that I showed you in relation to the media coverage is pretty much how you cover the touch points and the locations. And then all it really comes down to is having that level of engagement. And that is through producing similar content on YouTube, long form, short form, however long you prefer. if you have the content that aligns with everything else that you're producing over time, that will guarantee the amplification of your authority. So always think of that when you are considering building out this content system that you're working towards. And then also, now that we are looking at amplifying your authority, it is in my best interest to showcase another framework, which is the PESO model. So the PESO model is an actual framework by SpinSucks. And what this model does, it looks at the elements of paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media. So paid media is self-explanatory, right? It is media based on you paying for it, whether it's boosted posts, adverts, sponsored posts, any of those things is paid media. You pay based on the fact that it's amplified towards a set of people. Earned media is a lot of the work that I do predominantly based on the idea that you're doing the PR, right? You're earning the right to be published in these particular publications. Because when you are positioned through earned media, that is a lot more, in my opinion anyway, reputable, because you know that you had to be on there based on merit and not just based on the fact that you paid for the opportunity. The opportunity was aligned based on the fact that you are a thought leader and you are someone that was requested or required to cover this particular topic. Shared media is the aspects of anything that is shared via social media. So anything that can be shared, retweeted, liked, or commented through, that is the aspects of shared media. And then owned media is all the media that you own. So whether it comes down to the content on your website, you own that. Whether it comes down to a newsletter, you own that. Any sort of media that you own and is within your own ecosystem of your personal media is your own media. So the way that this is looked at is when you develop an integrated approach of being able to produce a wide range of content that has a hybrid approach. So some content can even be distributed as paid media, following the idea of earned media. So let's say, for argument's sake, I secure a piece of coverage. The coverage is great. It puts me in a great light. That is earned media based on me pitching me for that particular story. That story is now covered. So for argument's sake, let's say it was a broadcast opportunity where I'm speaking about the importance of brand authority, right? So that's earned media. So then now I think to myself, okay, let me put it on LinkedIn so I can amplify it even further. That is shared media, because now I put it on LinkedIn where now people can comment on it, they can like on it, they can repost, they can share it themselves. That is now within the idea of shared media. Owned media is me putting it on my website now as a piece of press opportunity, right? Or even me writing a blog on my website regarding the opportunity. That is owned media because it's now on my platform where I'm now talking about it. And paid media could be me clipping a particular section of that feature that I received and turning that into a paid ad where I can then say that this opportunity was given to me based on my work ethic and my dedication and my level of expertise as a thought leader. If you are interested in becoming a thought leader too, click in the link and I'll show you how. And then that paid ad can be distributed to my ICP and a wider audience of people who are interested in all things branding, marketing, and PR. And are paid for that amplification. So if you understand how you are then able to incorporate various different pieces of content and turn it into a funnel based on paid media, earned media, shared media, and owned media, you will amplify your authority and take it to new heights that you didn't even think was possible. Look into the PESO model more. Or matter of fact, I done a video months back regarding the PESO model. So check it out if you're interested. But honestly, if you include that into your approach, an integrated approach of how you build your level of brand authority, I'll say sky's the limit. And as I mentioned before, build a living proof bank. So create a system that has all your testimonials, your media, your case results, your transformations. And remember, proof should be searchable and not hidden. Make your credibility visible to the right people at the right time. And then once you do that, then you are then in the process of building your authority ecosystem. So that is when your authority compounds, when all these things are aligned. Your content, your proof, the people, your presence. When these reinforce each other, you stop chasing credibility. You start owning that, and then you are now in a position where you are now deemed as a magnet that attracts opportunity by default because you have everything locked in the way that it needs to be. And as far as the authority flywheel is concerned, right? If you are locked in and you are locked into stage 2, you would realize that the marketing and the revenue part was grayed out because you, at the time when you're building your rhythm, you're in no process to amplify your authority. Now you are in the process where you can amplify your authority to turn this into revenue now. We're in the money game now. As I mentioned, your core platform, pick one core platform, whether it's your LinkedIn, your YouTube, your Substack, your Instagram, your TikTok, pick one core platform. Based on that, have the synergy where you are then able to redevelop the content for different channels that are also based on having a level of authority. So for this particular piece of content, I always reference YouTube, Substack, and LinkedIn. So if I said YouTube as a core platform and I do a video, the synergy would be me redeveloping that into different content formats that is ideal for my LinkedIn and ideal for my Substack. And then through the amplification, I am then using that content to develop even further. I turn that long form content into short form content and I distribute across my Instagram Reels, my TikTok, my YouTube Shorts. It isn't much more wider and it's amplified to the masses across other channels like my newsletter per se. And then through that, the element of PR, I build that level of PR with that third party credibility. I'm getting more coverage, I'm getting more features, and I'm getting my search engine optimization improved because when you Google my name, you can see all the results of where I've been. And then based on that, I now introduce a marketing mechanism into the mix, a lead generation funnel that can be deployed into the process where I invite everyone into my ecosystem. Everyone who is interested in my work, everyone who is interested in what I'm doing day to day is invited into my ecosystem. And then following that process, those who are in the ecosystem and is interested in learning from me and developing the same skills I have been able to incorporate for myself, go through the process of the marketing process to the point where it leads to revenue because they now work with me. And then with that revenue, I call this the authority flywheel because that revenue is reinvested back into the core platform. And then you rinse and repeat. Every time that authority flywheel turns, everything compounds. Your core platform compounds. Your level of synergy across your platforms compound. The amplification towards different, wider perspectives and new things compound. The PR opportunities you get as a result compound. The marketing initiatives you get that can lead more people into more funnels compounds. And that compounds into more money. And then we go again and then again until we hit that 7-figure value. And that's the plan. That is the plan. And that's the process in terms of how you are able to amplify your authority. So with this, amplify your authority checklist. Let's just do a little check-in just to make sure that you know what needs to be done. So have you secured any strategic features, any strategic sort of, opportunities? Have you documented your proof publicly? Have you activated partnerships intentionally? Have you built any thought leadership assets? Have you started to mix in, or have you layered the idea of the PESO channels, your paid media, your earned media, your shared media, or your owned media? Have you made your brand more searchable online and through AI? Those are the things I want you to think about following this masterclass. And just remember, authority must be validated. And that's it for today. That's it for today. That is how you amplify your authority and take things to new heights. So please make sure that you like this video. If you like this video and it provided immense value, as I said it would, please like it. Please do comment on the video if you have any questions, if you feel like there was something that I may have missed, if you feel like there's something that you like the most, any particular highlights, let me know. And then subscribe. I'm dropping content every single day. And a lot of this content, I know it's going to change lives. It's been changing my life ever since. And I continue to grow and develop. And we thank God. But if you are looking to build your level of brand authority, check out the previous session. If you are looking to fix your foundations, check the first session. If you just finished today, I hope that you have the ideas of how you can amplify your authority. And then tomorrow, we end it with day 4. And that is how we protect our authority. We built it so much now, we need to protect it now. So tomorrow, I will show you exactly how you protect your level of brand authority. So I'll catch you tomorrow. Look after yourself. Peace out.